to episode number 1 of the Elisalicious show. I'm your host, Elisa Jankowski, a business administration student, yoga teacher, marathon runner, and currently finishing my plant-based nutritionist degree. I'm here to help you to achieve a healthier, happier, and more sustainable life. I'm also the creator of the Elisalicious show Instagram account, where I post delicious and nutritious plant-based recipes. If you haven't checked it out, please do so. That's at Elisalicious show on Instagram. I hope you all had a wonderful week of good vibes, and I'm so grateful that you're tuning in with me today. So let's get started. Today's episode will be all about running because some of you reached out to me and asked what kinds of shoes I use, how far I run, how can I run that far, if I have any tips. I also integrated some things that I've learned over the last year because I actually started running just a year ago, and I would have been happy if I would have known these things before I started running. I want to give you some tips to avoid mistakes because 37 till 56% of runners worldwide suffer from injuries. And I think that's quite a lot. And it's really easy and simple to avoid mistakes. So one study published in August 2008 by the Stanford University of Medicine showed that regular running slows the effect of aging. They tracked 500 older runners for more than 20 years. And this study showed that elderly runners have fewer disabilities and a longer span of active life. Isn't that awesome? Just because of running. I mean, I knew that running is good for you, but if I can stop aging, why not? Before you go for your run, make sure to set a goal. When I say to set a goal, I mean you can set a goal kilometer-wise or time-wise. For example, you want to run 1 hour without stopping, or you want to run your first 10K race. So try to find a goal and try to find a time period where you want to achieve this goal. So you could say, I want to run 10 kilometers in October or whenever. Just try to set a date and set your goal, because then it will be easier to achieve this goal. Then find a routine. When I say routine, I mean find days in a week where you go for your run. You could say Mondays and Wednesdays are my running days. So on these days, I go running. And it doesn't matter if you run in the morning, run after lunch, run at night, whenever. Just make sure that these are your running days. It's super important to keep up your routine that you can accomplish your goals. And you will see that you will get faster, you can run further when you have a routine. So then the question, where can I run, might be one of the most interesting things for you because you haven't been running and you don't really know where people are running. Sometimes you see people on the street, but it's actually not that hard because you just go out there and you go for your run. My suggestion would be to just see what works best for you. So I personally like to run in the forest, but I know people who like to run on the street. But it's all up to you. And just a quick thing that you should keep in mind, if you run in the forest, there are no traffic lights, so you don't need to stop. And if you just keep running, I think it's easier for you to stay in this process of running because you don't need to stop. You can just keep going. I mean, sometimes you see a snake or something. But in general, I just really love running in the forest. But if you don't have a forest around, just see where you want to run. And another thing, you don't need to run by yourself. You can just find a friend. You could run with your best friend, with your family, with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or just someone. You don't need to run by yourself. You can just ask someone, hey, do you want to run with me? Ask on Facebook if someone wants to run. That's what I did when I was in Sweden. I just asked the student group if someone wants to go for a run with me, and I met some guys and they were running with me. So that was super cool because I didn't know the area. And we had lots of fun. And it's also nice to have a date when you know, okay, Tuesday morning, we go for a run all together, and then we know, okay, I need to wake up early because we have our run. Another lovely thing is a running group. So if you have a running group, you have more than just one person. You meet new people all the time. The route is set and you can just follow along. My favorite running group is the group called Midnight Runners, and they are sponsored by Reebok, and they run in Berlin, in New York, in Sydney, and actually all over the place. And I used to run with them in Berlin, and I really, really love that. You have music, you have exercise, you have boot camp stops, you have lovely people, and you always have a wonderful time. It feels like someone is like recharging my inner battery with positive vibes, and it's just so wonderful. So if you haven't checked it out, please do so. Then let's talk about some gear. I received so many messages about my shoes. I used to run with Nike shoes when I started running. I had the Nike Vomeo ones, but I don't really like them anymore. And I noticed that I got some problems with my knees. And at some point, I got New Balance shoes, and they are working really well for me. I did the marathon with them, but I'm not telling you to buy this brand or that brand. The best thing would be to go to a running store and do a running analysis, because they will see what you need, because every running shoe is a bit different. But the only thing that I can say is don't run more than approximately 800 kilometers in one pair of shoes. And I also like to switch my shoes. So I have trail running shoes, and then I also have road running shoes that you can mix it up a bit. And you might notice that shoes, especially running shoes, have cushions nowadays. And it doesn't really reduce the risk of running related injuries. And running shoe manufacturers have added cushions to the shoe soles, but they don't really reduce the loading on your joints. And studies show that there's no evidence that the injury rate goes down just because you put more cushion on your shoe. So you should ask yourself, what do I really need? We will talk about the reason why a bit later on, but that's just something that I wanted to say in the beginning. I also use a watch. My watch is from Garmin, but you can also use Polar or Cinter, something like that. I like to track my runs because it keeps me motivated. I see my heart rate, I see my pace, and I can see where I was running afterwards. And it's really, really nice because it helps me to stay on my pace. It helps me to see what kind of zone I'm running in, because you can see like all the heart rate zones and all that stuff. So definitely think about getting a watch if you want to run more regularly, because it will help you to see how you improve over time. Then please do me and do yourself a favor and warm up. You will avoid injuries by just doing some easy jump squats, upper body rotation, hip rotation, light hamstring stretches or high knees. Doesn't really matter what you do, but please warm up a bit before you go for your run. Then another thing, I like to use apps. So my apps are connected with my Garmin watch. I use Strava and the Nike Run Club. And Strava is really nice if you're not just a runner, if you like cycling and swimming too. You can also add other activities, but that's what I do. And you can find new routes, you can find new people. And when I say you can find new people, it's actually really funny because there's one feature called flybys, and people can see you if they have passed you on the way. And that's how I met one of my cycling friends, because he saw me on the flybys and texted me on Instagram. That's so funny. And now we actually cycle together. So that's such a wonderful way to meet new people. Then the Nike Run Club. I started using the Nike Run Club several years ago. And there you can connect with your friends and see who's running more. I really like that because you can see how much you ran this week or this month or this year, and you can compare yourself to others, and it keeps you motivated. And I just really, really enjoy that. If you're interested in my training and what I do, you can find me under @Elisalicious on both sides. So if you want to connect with me, please do so. Coming now to the during the run part. First of all, there is this debate about stopping and keep on running, and it's really interesting that the opinions are splitting so much when it comes to this topic, because normally I would say never stop, but that's just my opinion. But then I started running on hills and I had to stop because I had no energy to go up the hill, because I'm not used to hills. Here in Berlin, we don't really have hills. But also, if you're on the road and you think you need to stop, I always think about a mountain of my motivation. So if I'm halfway through and I stop, I need so much more energy to start running again than just going up this mountain of imaginary motivation, and then keep on running. I think it's much easier than stopping and then find the motivation to start again. But I mean, that's up to you. That's just something that I was thinking about. Another thing you should keep in mind are your arms. You can actually use your arms when you're running because it will give your legs a rest. And if you're starting with running and if you think, oh my god, my legs are so heavy, just try to interrogate your arms a little bit more. Focus on a 45-degree angle with your arms, and then you will also see a runner's triangle. So if you pull your arm backwards, you will see a triangle with your elbow, your upper arm, and your side body. And yeah, just try to relax your shoulders. Don't push them towards your ears. That's not what I mean, but just try to move your arms, and you will see that it's much easier to run. Then, one of the most important things that I see so often, please don't land on your heels. It will hurt after a while. You will really damage your knee joints and all the other joints because everything is connected. But try to land on your middle foot or the front part of your foot, but not on your heel. It will really hurt over time. That's one of the reasons why you land on your cushion, on your shoe cushion, because you don't really feel it anymore. So please do me and yourself a favor and don't land on your heels. Another thing would be to pull your heels and not push your knees. And when I say that, I mean, when you pull your leg, you will feel this kind of cycling movement. But when you push your knee, it's really hard for your leg to deal with this push all the time. So it's much easier to pull your leg, and it's much healthier for you. You will be much faster. Just give it a try. I can just say give it a try because for some people it works and for some it doesn't work. And then lean forward. What do I mean by lean forward? I mean, if I would lean forward, I would just fall, but that's actually the key. Running is controlled falling. So if you fall and then pull your heels, you will see that you will run much, much faster because it's like falling, but you don't really need to put so much energy in it. Another option would be to run with music. When I say running with music is an option, I mean, I know that there are people out there who don't really like to run with music. I personally like to run with music, and I like to use the Spotify playlist with 175 beats per minute because then you run on the beat and it helps you to run faster, to have a better strike, and just, yeah, I simply enjoy it. But give it a try. You will see if you need it, or if you don't like music, that's fine too. Just like I said, an option. One of the most important things is that you run for yourself and not for anyone else. When you go out there, don't forget that this run is time for yourself. You took this time for yourself. You decided to go for this run. So it doesn't matter how fast or slow you go, and it doesn't matter if your friend is faster than you, or if your neighbor is faster than you, or if you're faster than your boyfriend. You just go for yourself, be with yourself, and it's all about yourself. Please don't forget that. Sometimes we push ourselves so much that we forget that this time is actually for ourselves. So please do yourself a favor and focus on you. After the run, don't forget to cool down. And when I say cool down, I don't really mean to like get an ice cream and cool down. I mean stretching. When you stretch afterwards, you will see that your legs are feeling a bit lighter afterwards, and on the next day you're not that stiff. So please check out some videos on YouTube or any other source to stretch after your runs. Another thing, I put it in the category of after running because sometimes after the run you think, oh, I want to run further, is the increase of distance per week. So my suggestion would be use a 10% increase per week of your distance, because it's really easy to run too much too fast and to add up the distance too fast, and you will hurt yourself and you don't really enjoy it anymore because you think, oh no, I said to myself I'm gonna run 10K next week, and then it's already 2 weeks ago, and you say, oh, I need to do it right now. You don't need to do it right now. You will see that the time will come, and when you're ready, you're ready. And if you know that you need to increase your distance by 10% every week, you know how much time you have and how much time you need until you can achieve your goal. Another thing after running is drinking water. Stay hydrated. Your body needs that. It's really exhausting for your body to go for a run, and you will lose a lot of water. So please do yourself and your body a favor and drink water afterwards. It's not just important that you drink afterwards, it's also important to eat afterwards. And what you eat after a run matters, because your body has been strained and it's given its best. It's really important to replenish the lost nutrients and fluids, because you sometimes forget that you actually burn so many calories with an endurance run or with endurance sports in general. And this is particularly important for longer and more strenuous runs. So make sure to get some food in. If you're interested in that, please let me know and I will record an episode on the nutrients and the food after a run. But why should we start running now? A study from the Journal of American College of Cardiology showed that running even 5 to 10 minutes per day at a slow speed, and when I say slow speed, I mean like 6 miles per hour, is associated with a reduced risk of death from all causes and cardiovascular disease. So this study may motivate individuals to begin and continue running for long-term benefits. I think this is a good argument to just go for my run if I know that I can stay healthy, if I want to stay healthy. So give it a try, and I can just say it helped me so much, especially nowadays when I'm in my room all the time working and have my university lectures in my room. It helps me so much to like free my mind and just go outside and enjoy the nature. Let's wrap this up by summarizing some of the key elements of today's episode. First of all, find a routine. It will be much easier to achieve your goals if you have a routine. So if you know that Mondays and Wednesdays are your running days, you're more likely to go on your runs on Mondays and Wednesdays. So give it a try and find days in a week where you go for your run. Secondly, do one step at a time. It's so important to not rush things. So if you have your goal and you know that you want to go for a 10K run, or if you want to run for an hour, make sure to start really, really slow. Go for your 1K run, 2K run, and then slowly increase your distance. Don't hurt yourself by pushing too hard, because you will see you won't really enjoy it. And that's the third thing. This is your time. Enjoy the time when you go for your run. Enjoy what you do. Just be by yourself and just focus on yourself. It doesn't really matter what other people are doing. You're out there for yourself, and it doesn't matter if you're slower than your best friend, or if you're slower than your neighbor, or if you're faster than your neighbor. It doesn't matter. You're out there just for yourself. So please take this time for yourself and don't push things. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just be with you and be yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. Make sure to let me know how this episode resonated with you by tagging me under @Elisalicious Show over on Instagram. That's where you can also send me a DM if you have any questions or suggestions. If you want to know more, make sure to head over to elisalicious.de, where you can find the show notes of each episode, and please make sure to pop over to iTunes and leave me a rating and review. I appreciate that so much. Big thank you to Tanja Notschaele for graphics and music by Temple Hayes. I wish you all a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll see you next week.